Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. My name is VoiceOvaGuy, and let's get right into this. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here, anyway?
Oh, it's you! I'm surprised to see you again.
Why's that?
Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try.
She frowned, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought.
Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning.
A shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought.
So come on, then!
What?
You're here to run! Right?
Well, yes.
So come on!
I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find enviable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work toward things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient keeping pace with me and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? You got a heart condition, man. I don't know. You shouldn't really be pushing yourself. You just need some exercise. You should take it easy, bro. I let Emmy go with her own pace, and she doesn't show mercy, pulling half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out here, is it? Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. Exactly. Thank you. God, is this even worth it? I don't know. As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emmy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine the way I am. And what if I'm not a runner? This was probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Well, maybe you don't need to go that far, bro. I just meant take it easy so your heart doesn't explode. Jesus. Getting up this early sucks, anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe? Nice afternoon walks? Brisk? Howa walking through the trees? Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Emmy and head back to my room. I'll think of something else later. We go to the pool. Even the pool is better. You get lots of exercise in a pool and your heart probably won't explode. Back in my room, the first thing I see is the familiar row of medication bottles lined up on top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed, as usual. It's annoying. I thought I was okay. I thought I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before, for months. It seems like it's time I get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. This is how I'll rationalize it. I down the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepare to head to class early, as usual. As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me soundlessly like a ninja, hiding in plain sight, I call out to him. Hey! He jumps at the sound of my voice. Whoop! Oh, hey man, I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired. I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue. Why have you been this early? Where have you been this early? Wow. Shopping? Nah, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit the math teacher. Yeah. I figured it was a good idea to find out what the next exam was, since he tells you in advance if you want. So then, what's in the bag? I thought I'd go shopping while I was outside. I need supplies to continue the fight against the vast feminist conspiracy. Okay. I thought you didn't go outside. I wear a hat now. I decide to not point out that he is not wearing a hat. An awkward silence settles between us and Kenji? between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He sets the bag down inside the room and then closes the door. I'm surprised you went out of your way to find out a test date. Trying to take advantage of an opportunity to study is pretty diligent. I never study. Oh. I just wanted to know when the next exam was today. Or the next exam was. The next test day was. God dang it. I'm still gonna take it. Duh. I need to know so I know what day I can't afford to skip class. He usually sends out updates on that crap by phone, so I had to step out and check up on it. And why do you have to go out when you can get it on your phone? I don't carry a phone. What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home? Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. I have no phone. Why don't you have a phone? How can you not have a phone? No phone at all? No phone? I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. But basically, when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-threatening doom call, or I was bitten with a phone in the past, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head. Well, where else could I get beaten with a phone that would make me unable to remember it? The ass? Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now. Sensing this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside. Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a good one. Class is gonna start in like 20 minutes. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, you need some lip balm? I accidentally bought 2 because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks. Whatever, man. Whatever. He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces by now, though the names escape me still. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I've even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. Oh, it's been so long. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant to say was that the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. I didn't skip that, it skips itself sometimes. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. They're all made of paper. Paper people. It's crowded in the hallway. As crowded as always in this school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria.
So, I'm gonna make you one-time only super extra special lunch offer. Emmy's home.
Oh, the falsetto's not as easy as it once was.
Emmy's homemade box lunches, and the privilege of enjoying them in private with 2 bombshell beauties.
Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, a remarkable feat since it's full of people. Emmy strikes a very confident-looking pose as an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing her very modest chest and making the V for victory sign with her hands. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe this honor of being invited?
You stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company.
That is probably the most depressing reason imaginable. Yay, pity lunch!
So how about it? You're probably really lonely and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I'm kidding. Come on.
Sure, I'll have a lunch offer. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer. With pleasure.
Let's go to the roof.
The roof? Raise the roof. Why the roof?
Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, then she'll probably wander off and then I just go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself.
Oh, she'll just go hungry. Who will?
Come with me.
It's gonna be Hanako. Without answering my question or waiting, no, I think she's more with Lily than this Emmy. Question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation on the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Emmy smiles guiltily.
Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in around at lunch and forgot to eat it.
That's healthy. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door complete with missing padlock. That's great. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed that lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. I was captivated by that roof texture. It looks like a giant puzzle somebody put together of freaking snow camo. Snow camo rooftop. Oh, it's her. Suddenly, a tall, dark, stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Hello. Those reactions.
Yipes! You scared me, Rin!
Wait, isn't she... Hello. Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. Click.
You two know each other?
I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. ... The awkward silence lasts only a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off.
I invited his out for lunch. If you know him, that's just even better.
Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch?
Neither. I have food for 3.
Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof, while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There is nobody else here but us. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in the other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof— oh, those are small pebbles? Rattle beneath our feet. Well, Emmy doesn't really have, but okay, whatever. I peek through the chain link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depends on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine. Looking at my new hometown, even if it's gonna be mine for only 1 short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly I haven't had time to think about how I feel. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog or car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag.
Come on, Isao, what are you waiting for?
She is beckoning me to join them, making room on the bench, the already small bench. Whoa! I seat myself in the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands another lunchbox to me.
Here you go! Lunch is promised!
Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good.
Thanks, I make them myself when I can.
Conversation dies off as I settle about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed by her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I am right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing. Desensitization. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as though it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding.
My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great, because then I can burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure.
What would happen if you'd lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh.
It's a figure of speech.
Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Or like what?
Talk like what?
I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emmy answer this question.
Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to each other.
Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit. Well, one has to use her feet for everything, and then one doesn't have any, so I don't know. I can see where they're coming from when they say they kind of complete each other. Emmy giggles at my confusion.
Put us together and we've got all our limbs. Get it?
Yep. It's morbidly funny.
So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. Friends forever. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along.
I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of? This isn't helping. But at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm gonna stop talking now. It'll save a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a content noise.
That was good.
As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty.
Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry.
With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice. One to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk. Yeah, completed with pink color scheme. And keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously grabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow, I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure.
So, how do you like it up here?
Oh, it's quite nice, actually. I like high places, for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. And the drink. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin. That must be really bright. Pleased by my response, I suppose.
No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here.
No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended.
Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve!
She giggles.
Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating all alone.
I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding! I was kidding! I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location. The company's okay, too. Okay. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs.
Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again!
Wasn't that hungry? God.
You don't eat more, you're gonna fade away!
Rin shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we'd better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I'd borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her.
Sorry, Yuko, I didn't mean to startle you.
No, I read him as her,
No, that's fine, it happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you?
It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been sitting last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Whoa, same beanbag chair and everything, surprisingly. Though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time, and get back to finding reading material. Oh, come on, intrude. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. I guess I need to buy some supplies. I can't live off cafeteria food and eating out for my entire stay here. As I leave for the gate, I make a few loud stretches to try and stave off any tiredness that's accumulated over the week. After passing through and rounding the corner, though, I see a solitary figure walking downhill towards the small town below. The color of her hair and tapping of her cane are unmistakable. I quickly walk up to her, which seems to catch her attention without a word needing to be said. Hi, Lily! She takes a moment to place the voice, slightly adjusting her head to face a bit more towards the source of my voice as she does. Hisao? Yep, it's me. She seems to have a good memory for voices. The fact that she actually remembered is a pleasant surprise. Good evening. What brings you here? Once again, she gives a small, polite bow, and once again, I reply in kind before realizing that I needn't do so. Just going to town. You? My, what a coincidence. Doing the same thing, huh? I usually go shopping on Fridays. She pauses for a moment, suddenly looking a little lost. That said, Hanako usually comes into town with me. Not lost, but worried. The two do seem to keep pretty close tabs on one another. It's kind of surprising that Hanako would just forget Lily like that. I noticed her reading in the library. She probably just got caught up in a book. She lets out a small sigh of relief. Thank you. She has a habit of doing that. Avid reader? Right. She doesn't like being around crowds of people, so reading away from everyone lets her relax a bit. Although she probably didn't intend it. I can't help but grimace as I recall my first meeting with her. Hardly wanting to bring it up, I remain silent as we quietly continue to walk down the quiet road. Tack, 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 tack. With the road bereft of cars and the students of Yamaku increasingly far behind us, the quiet rustle of the leaves and the measured tapping of Lily's cane against the sidewalk are all that can be heard. It's kind of nice, especially compared to the hustle and bustle of where I used to live. Before I knew it, I've relaxed so much that a loud yawn escapes before I can control it. Tired? Yeah, I've been running ragged these past few days. That's an understatement to be sure. Transferring into a different school would be bad enough, but nothing like this. Well, hopefully everything should settle down for you.
The festival's got everyone in a spin right now, and you've been plopped right in the middle of things.
For a moment, I hesitate, but given her apparent tolerance for frankness, I decide to give my full thoughts. I guess Yamaku's kind of different, though. I mean, the formality surrounding everyone, the isolation around it, not to mention the most obvious difference. It's kind of a whole different mindset. I suppose I'll get used to it, though, in time. She gives a matter-of-fact nod, apparently pleased with my answer. It feels almost as if she's included me in the flock of students she's shepherding? Shepherding. Ah, how did I mess that one up? Shepherding. Along with Class 3-2 and Hanako. Well, not that I mind. It's nice to get the thoughts off my chest in any case.
Looking on the bright side, one could see it as a chance for a new beginning. You should cherish the ability to make new friends.
That's optimistic, nonetheless. It's good to have a positive attitude about such things, I suppose. I guess that's a good take on it. Walking on down the road, she seems to become somewhat unsettled. Before I can ask her what's on her mind, she seems to collect herself and speaks up about something else. And we're gonna find out what that is on the next episode. If you liked this episode, please leave a like. If you disliked it, please leave a dislike, even though I don't like it, but that's fine. If you have any comments or criticisms, please leave them in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Peace out, guys.